Welcome to CodiumAI. Today we're going to generate new tests from scratch for React Native Paper, a library that allows you to use Material Design, a design language developed at Google, in React Native. More specifically, we're going to extend the existing test suite for the library by evaluating the existing tests for a component, letting CodiumAI generate new test ideas, and then implement them in our suite. Let's get started by reviewing one of the basic components in the library. We're going to work on the icon component, which has a few different props. These props, when set to specific values, may cause the component to render in interesting and unexpected ways. This means that a great way to unit test the component would be to generate it with a prop or two set in a specific way, and then see how it renders. We can generate tests by either 1. Testing the existing icon functional component, which will allow us to generate a lot of tests given the code of the component. CodiumAI builds on best practices and creates the best possible tests. Or 2. We can look at the existing test suite for the component, which includes all the setup needed for tests to work, and simply generate more tests based on the existing ones. As a reminder, it can be rather difficult to enumerate and then write tests for every possible prop value and the combinations thereof. This is where CodiumAI really shines, by evaluating both the existing tests and the component's code itself, allowing for true coverage of all of the component's different possible behaviors. Now that the tests have been generated, let's review what we can toggle. First of all, you can give CodiumAI more specific instructions, essentially a prompt. This will customize your tests in bulk without you having to modify each one individually. Since most tests are written using a test framework nowadays, CodiumAI will suggest and also attempt to automatically pick the relevant test framework for you. Feel free to modify it as you need. Furthermore, a lot of test suites utilize additional utility libraries to add more capabilities to the suite. CodiumAI will suggest a few of them based on the language and its own ideas, but feel free to mark none if you don't use any. Context allows CodiumAI to use additional files even if they live outside of the specific code block you're testing. This gives CodiumAI a deeper understanding and makes it generate even better tests. In the existing test analysis pane, you can get a comprehensive overview of all the tests that already exist inside the existing test suite, whether they are properly annotated or not, and take a quick inventory of the situation. In the behaviors coverage pane, you can see which behaviors are covered in the generated CodiumAI tests and get suggestions for new ones. If we click Go to Test, we can see a test that ensures the component is rendered correctly when the direction prop is not specified. If we scroll back up and then click Generate Test here, CodiumAI will generate a new test that is missing for us. This time, one that checks the component generated correctly when the color prop is specified. As we scroll through the rest of the tests, it's clear that CodiumAI's Extend Test Suite feature really does take the pain out of adding tests to your existing suite and offers a lot of help when trying to test existing or new code changes. Let's now implement a couple of the tests into the suite and see that everything works properly. Copy color prop test provided, paste into the code format using VS Code's prettier formatter. Note that the test runs and passes automatically. Let's click the pass indicator and watch it pass again. Great, let's take another test and copy it right beneath the first one. Note that this one passes too. Let's double check by clicking the indicator again and watch it pass again. You can clearly see that the tests generated by CodiumAI fit the schema of the existing test suite and complement it very well. Let's take things up a notch. Instead of letting CodiumAI generate more tests, you can also create a custom test for a niche behavior. Let's try and generate a test that checks for a common problem, providing a string never before seen by the test suite for one of the props. This will allow us to more carefully try and test this component. CodiumAI quickly generates a test with a desired behavior, relying on the existing suite in the process. Before we move on, note that this test matches the schema of the rest of the test suite. Let's take this test and add it to the test suite, auto-format it, then make sure it passes correctly by reviewing it in the test pane. Good. You can also modify an existing test using the free text input at the bottom of each test. This time we'll try and ask for an even more specific behavior, weird characters that are not supposed to appear in a prop value. Note that this is free-form text and CodiumAI will accept it as is. CodiumAI cleverly creates a LeetSpeak-like string as a prop value. However, let's be even more specific and ask CodiumAI to generate non-ASCII characters as the prop value to make sure that it can do that too. Unsurprisingly, it can, and we can copy this test to make sure it works properly within the test suite. Amazing. One last thing, this is now a new test with different behavior, but the title is the same. Let's make sure we modify our title as well. A bit of an overkill to do with the plugin, but we're already here. Let's copy and run the test to make sure it passes. And voila. CodiumAI is agnostic to the specific testing methodology you use and will work across your entire test suite, whether you're generating tests from scratch or augmenting a set of existing tests. If you want to check out CodiumAI, you can go to our website at codium.ai and get our VS Code plugin, shown in this video, our JetBrains IDE plugin, or our GitHub PR assistant. Thanks for watching and happy testing!